Welcome to the Scaleup Valley podcast, where we bring the best of the best to help your scale up business from 1 million to 1 trillion. Today's guest is Zoltán Andrássy, the CTO at HeatVentors. Zoltán, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Welcome.
It's great to have you here, and for our listeners that are listening this season for the first time, this is an episode that is part of the Breakthrough Engineering. It is a series where we are bringing the best of the best across the engineering and energy industries to share their lessons, scaling up their companies in partnership with IMI Electronic Engineering. So let's get to know more about Zoltán. Zoltán, let us know a little bit more about yourself and, of course, about your company, HeatVentors.
All right. So my name is Zoltán. I'm from Hungary. I'm an energy engineer and an HVAC engineer. Basically, all the stories of HeatVentors started around 8 years ago with a university research project. We started it with my co-founder and actually wife, Rita. So let's say it's a family business. We started the university research.
Didn't know that.
Well, as an entrepreneur, we are working so much, but I think anyone who is listening can understand. We are working so much that it would be impossible to find a partner who would tolerate that. So it's a good setup to have your wife in and work together, because then you working together. So basically, you are spending some time together. If that wouldn't be the case, then we didn't really meet because
Absolutely. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a family business. Actually started as a family business. So 8 years ago, we started the research in the Technical University of Budapest because we decided that we will be bigger nerds than the other nerds around. So we started to make research, and that was the time when we met with phase change materials, which is the heat storage medium of our technology. Basically, our technology, so we developed a thermal energy storage system. So we are able to store the heating or cooling energy of different systems in a more concentrated way, because we are not changing the temperature of the water as buffer storages or household applications, but we are changing the phase, like melting and solidifying these special materials. And we get a more concentrated, smaller, and more efficient storage. So we are able to save energy, heating and cooling systems. This is the main product. When we graduated, we spent around 4 years with the research already. So we decided to continue because we spent a lot of time. We won all the possible awards what we could. So we said why not? We have nothing to lose. So we started the company around 3 years ago. And I have to say that it's the biggest adventure of our life. As engineers, we are both engineers. We learned a lot about business, economics, marketing, legal stuffs, and every aspect of having a company and managing a company and growing it. So it's a very good.
Sounds fantastic. And to give a little bit more of context to the audience, so what can you share in terms of business metrics, in terms of the growth stage that you are with HeatVentors at this stage?
Mm-hmm. I consider ourselves a scale-up. We have many projects and many installations where we proved that our technology works. We have cooling systems, district heating systems, gas engine heat recovery in Hungary, in Italy, in other regions of Europe. We are shipping a project now to Indonesia. So I have to say that it's going well. we have some co-developments with some bigger companies, which is a very interesting business model, because then we have a big fish, a big partner who can who is already on the market and can help us penetrate. And also it's very good to work with very experienced people from other companies. The number as employees, we have, well, I would say between 10 and 15 people, because we have some full-time employees and some outsiders. Outside as well. That's not a good word, but but still,
they are all part of the team.
Of course, we are considering everybody part of the team, even if it's a marketing service in a partial time. So just to have everyone in the family. Well, yeah. Now we will soon receive a bigger investment, and we would like to really scale up and to expand the team. So the aim is to have 20-30 people by the end of next year. So that will be the next big challenge: how to expand the team and how to change the management and operation. Yeah, looking forward.
Absolutely. As you know, we always cover in the show 3 critical ingredients to scale. Number 1, radical focus. Number 2, world-class team/leadership. And number 3, culture of execution. Starting with number 1, especially at this stage of the company, at this stage of growth of HeatVentors, radical focus is more important than ever. And I'm sure that it was also very important until you got here, which is fantastic. And I know that if you would give you some advice, if you would have the opportunity to the movie back, you would say something related to that, right? So about acquiring the first customers, keeping the kind of core customer in mind. So what were some of your lessons about practicing radical focus?
Yes, so basically I believe that at first, so when you have the product, of course, that's the first step. When you have the product, you need the first customer, a pilot partner, to prove that the technology works. And I believe that actually I've seen many companies failing because of this. They couldn't make this first step, or yeah, maybe it's not the first, it's like the 10th step, but it seems like the first step.
Correct.
So everyone imagining having a business model and a financial model that their first project will give them some profit. So they are expecting to earn a lot of money out of the first project. But I would say that first project is about proving the technology. So basically, as a pilot, you have to be very focused, and of course, you don't have to earn a lot of money with the first pilot or the first customer, because that's not your aim. Your aim is to scale up. Your aim is to have hundreds, thousands of projects. If you are spending too much time, I would say even you can spend more, so 1 year more on having a customer who is ready to pay you a lot of profit. But instead of, if you are trying to find a company where you can find a model, for example, in our case, it's about energy efficiency. We have to prove that it saves energy. So we had a model that at first we give the first system for free to the customer. And then in half year, we've done a lot of measurements to prove them that it really works. And after the half year period, they actually paid for it. Of course, it's not always the case. So if it's a very huge value of project, then you cannot afford it, maybe. But I think even if you have a service, for example, you can afford giving it for free for the first half year or the first 1 year, and then you will have 10 or 100 more customers because of that project. You are not just sitting back and waiting to earn some hundreds of dollars, for example, or euros, because at the end that doesn't matter. You need to solve that gap somehow, and this is a good way, I think, to start and to kickstart the company.
Absolutely, and it's really critical to see that as a marketing investment and the go-to-market investment, and also as a MVP or as a business model validation, and having the first case studies, which are an important tool to approach new customers. And we always discuss also about going to very different customers, one from another, which doesn't make the process or the sales process repeatable. So we would say that part of the job is to build this revenue machine that needs to be repeatable, profitable, and scalable. So what you were saying in the beginning is we need to prove that it really adds value to a certain core customer. That's their needs, their desires, their pains. To that, we need to find clients who have similar pains and similar needs that we can help with almost the same case study in order to start making it repeatable. So then, and only then you would focus on making it profitable, and only then making it scalable. So sometimes we try to make everything at the same time to make it repeatable, profitable, and scalable. It would be amazing, but unfortunately, it's very few cases where we can start doing it. And I think there's an amazing quote from one of the founders of Y Combinator, that it says that in order, I think it's Paul Graham, in order to scale, you need to do things that don't scale. And that's kind of mindset that sometimes it's counterintuitive, that it's difficult to go through. And already mixing with the second critical ingredient, world-class team plus leadership. It's very difficult, as you were already commenting, and when it comes to the next stages of your business, to move from a founding team. And I love that component of the family business that you both have, you and Britta. But it's difficult to move from a founding team to a leadership team. So what is the first person to hire? Usually there is a lot of pain and hiring the first VP sales or the first sales reps. And I know that you also have some lessons there about what founders should do during the first sales. When is the right timing to delegate sales to other people?
Actually, one of our mentors usually says that at first, when you start the company, the founder is the best sales, because the founder is the person who really knows what the technology can do, really knows and really imagines where to place it in the world, the product, and who really know what is the dream. At first, before you have the first sales, it's quite hard to train someone, a salesperson, who is not involved in the process for a long time, because you need to spend a lot of time with them. So that's a good strategy. If you hire someone for sales, then you spend months or maybe 6-8 months with the person trying to generate the first sales, trying to have the first customer, but many times it doesn't work because I believe the founder have to make the first few sales, and also not just that, but to really find the aim, and to really keep onto the dream and keep onto the goal. So just to move forward and just to go from step by step, the founders should be there. The founders should train, and should guide the company in the beginning. And after that, it is possible to delegate the job. It is possible to have more colleagues. It is possible to start the sales and to train the people. For example, in our case, for our first project, we even decided to do everything by ourselves with Rita. Actually, in the background, there is the picture of our first project. So basically, we decided to make even the installation by ourselves. We are just engineers, but we did all the plumbing job, we did all the electrician's job, and everything, so that we can prepare a good installation manual, because we had the insights, we've seen the challenges, we even seen some points where we need to optimize the product itself, where we can face some challenges, and then we prepare the installation manual, so then we can have subcontractors so they can do it. If they have a question to me, for example, how do they do that kind of plumbing part, because it's something new or interesting, or they didn't meet, or they are not meeting with this issue every day, then I can tell it. I'm not just an engineer from the office telling them, yeah, do your job and that's it. But I really can help, and I think that's a good tip as well. As a founder, at first you need to do everything. You cannot delegate the job. Or if you delegate the job, you are losing the opportunity to know your product better and know your challenges and weaknesses better, because I think that's the most important thing at first, to try to optimize and find the best solution for every issue and challenge.
Absolutely. I love it. I would double down on what you said and kind of highlight and reinforce what you just said about. So in the beginning, you don't have a process. So you just have a dream and a vision, and you need to figure out the process as you execute it. And you can only have someone doing it who really believes, who have a strong belief on the value that the product can provide to the customer. And this is already too much chaotic to be in front of the customer solving a pain without knowing very well how the process will go on. But you have a strong belief that it will work out, because I've been working on it for a very long time, and it just needs that first opportunity. And the second thing is really important. What you said is you can only delegate when you have a process, when you are able to teach someone to do something in a certain order, or if you don't know what is the order, what is the process, it's very difficult to delegate that task. So I really love the points that you just made. So would you say that the first sales reps should come after the first 10 customers, a little bit later? What would be your advice on that?
I believe that it can come after the first or second sales, because from the first sales, well, depending on the product, of course, it can come after the first sales as well, if you can copy and paste it easily. If you need to fine tune, optimize, and somehow change, maybe after the second one is the best, because then the first one is the trial for you as well. The second one is a little bit more optimized version, but still you are facing some difficulties. And the third one is going better, and every thing is going better. Also, it was quite, just to reflect a little bit, it was quite strange at first. So before our first sales, we started to work with a business developer just to, we believe that it will accelerate the process. At the end, it didn't. We had some meetings where we sat there with Rita, with the business developer, and he asked questions about the process, which we didn't have a process. So we just said, yeah, sure, yeah, of course, it's the fake it till you make it kind of thing. Also with the first customers, when they started to ask about the installation, how it will look like in reality, then we were like, sure.
We will make it work. We don't know yet, but we will make it work. And I think that sense of belief, you know, as founders, and every client that works with founders know that they will sort it out. So, and that is amazing. It also creates trust, and that's the belief that I'm also talking about. And it's very difficult to have someone doing that kind of having that kind of belief who is not a founder, who doesn't depend on the success of that project. So the pain of failing, not being able to fulfill the purpose of starting at the company is so big that the founder will make whatever it takes to make it work and to make the customer happy.
That's true. That's true. We cannot do anything else. So
exactly. So that's great. So let's also include the culture of execution ingredients in the equation. Of course, everything works together. So we need to be able to have very clear priorities, a very clear and strong idea of the core customer. We need to be able to assemble a team that is able to serve that customer and to do all the job that you were talking. It's important to mention to the audience that is listening to the breakthrough engineering season that the majority of these companies have a combination of hardware and software in opposition to the majority of our previous episodes in the Scaleup Valley podcast in general. So which makes it even a little more complex to manage. And finally, the culture of execution it's really about having everyone on the same page. So you will maybe face more of this pain in the coming stages of your company when you get to 50, 100 people. That's usually when it starts to completely break. But already at your stage, you should already start seeing some growth pains coming out of the process of expanding the team. So how has been the experience of everyone at the same page? Are you working in distributed model?
Well, now we are trying to have everyone involved in well, I would say that in the bigger decisions, because we feel that that will make us a good team if everyone knows about mostly everything. So we are not the founders who just goes together, speaks about the important stuff, and then just says the colleagues that yeah, sure, this is the direction we are going. Of course, we always need to be aware of the dream and the goals that we need to reach, but still we are listening to our colleagues, and we are always asking questions and always trying to discuss them with these kind of decisions. For example, during the pandemic, we've done a meeting, a very short meeting every morning from 9 o'clock. It was a status. Everyone had 1 minute to tell what they did, what they've done yesterday, and what is the plan for today. Rita made some notes, of course, and then we compared what they reached. And at the end, we always talked about topics which were important, ongoing projects, successes or challenges. So we tried to talk about them. I think that makes everyone feel like part of the family and part of the team, and which is, I think, in our stage, it's a it's a key point. Later, when we have 50 or 100 employees, well, that will be more difficult to involve everyone in the process because there will be groups of people. But still, we will find out something to keep the spirit together and to really know about each other. I really don't like the companies where they are facing some well, if they are facing a challenge and then they ask a colleague who is sitting in the next door then they says, oh, sorry, we belong to another department. Well, I cannot really help. We are meeting with similar challenges, and if we share the information, that's always the better and more efficient.
Absolutely. And I would say that typically at 50, that's when you go more for a functional kind of org model. And after that, it breaks and you need to go back to a cross-functional mode, kind of having squads that are working around verticals, around projects, and that are able to almost be autonomous and make their own decisions in order to move the company faster. So I think that's one of the main battles of the next stage of growth, because especially also building a revenue machine that is repeatable, scalable, profitable and scalable. It's all about making the revenue seeds. I mean, marketing, CS, product engineering, and sales, of course. And in your case, you also have the part of the product of the production side or the engineering side as well. Need to be all on the same page, given that project in order to satisfy the client. And again, it's a team job. It's not anymore the smart person in the room that is able to provide value to the client. It's a job of a team, so which is a very different concept. I love it. And any advice, because I have the pleasure of having some amazing founders on the show that are a couple as well as you and Britain, and this can be very challenging starting up together. Any advice for the ones who are through the same situation as wife and husband in their startups and scale-ups? How to manage it and how to keep business life in a good shape at the same time?
Yeah, well, it's a tricky point because so it's quite hard to finish the work because we are going home together. We usually well, sometimes we talk about the business and the company on the way home, sometimes at home during the weekend, so sometimes it's hard to really find the place of the work and the place of the other life points or other points. So basically what we are doing, we are trying to really focus on not talking about the work when we leave the office. That's why we didn't really enjoy having the home office, because then there is no work time at all, so you are working constantly. So really try to find when we are out of the office, then we are not trying to not talk about the work. It's not possible, of course, and I think every couple or every friend talk about their job. In this case, we are having the same the same company, so we are talking about it also. What we are doing inside the company, we try to separate the roles and try to separate the responsibilities. I'm responsible for the technological and technology, keeping the contact with the manufacturers, and Rita is managing the processes. She is the CEO of the company. She is managing the processes, the team, trying to keep the dream alive, to reach the goals, keeping touch with the investors, trying to manage the biggest partners and keeping touch with the biggest partners, distributors. So that's where we separated. Of course, there are many decisions we need to discuss together, but on a daily basis, we try to a little bit separate our jobs. That gives us place. Then that won't be the case that only one of us will make all the decisions, because we have some areas where we can make the decisions by ourselves. And I think at some point you really need to make the decision alone, or at least some of the decisions the smaller decisions will have to made alone. At first by the founders, later on by the managing team, because we will have more people. You need to delegate the process and the decision making, because if they cannot make the decisions, then you will end up making decisions all the time, and then you cannot do your job anymore. If it's not decision making, of course. But I think there are many more things to do than making the decisions instead of other people.
I think that you just mentioned something that is really important. First is to avoid an overlap on the decision-making process between the two roles that will make more friction, and between the couple and the other members of the team, which makes it even more confusing. So it's kind of, we need to talk with them in order to make this happen, instead of saying I need to talk to Zoltán or I need to talk to Rita. So it's kind of a difficult challenge. So how will I be able to talk to them together, right? Instead of just calling Zoltán or calling Rita and solving it. So speed, it's important. And the second thing is also to separate what is the founding team and the leadership team, right? And who makes the final decision. So as founders, we were able to start up the company, to kind of have the dream for the company, to have the baby, to help the baby to do the first. To do the first walking journey, etc., etc., and then we need to be able to let go the baby to the next stages of development as a boy or as a girl. And it's a difficult exercise to do, but I would say separate our us in a company. It's something that we can learn from your experience and your advice here in the show. Zoltán, I think that we are already at the end of the show, and it was amazing lessons and experience that you shared with us today. But I still have a final question, of course. You have already been sharing that question during the show, but what advice would you offer to your younger self if you would have the opportunity to meet Zoltán at the time that you started up HeatVentors?
Yeah, I think one of the most important points is to having the first customer, and don't listen to mentors who say that you need to earn a lot of money for the first project, because you need to earn money for the first 100 or 1,000 project, of course, because you are aiming to build a big company and not having some money out of the first few projects. Actually, another interesting point where I imagine having or managing my daily life in the company is making micro investments. It is connected here as well. So you make an investment for the first partner because you are losing some profit or giving up some profit, but after that you expect to have it returned. And I think this is a key point in every part. When you are working, for example, with a more expensive subcontractor, but you expect higher value from them, that's an additional investment. When you are talking about business model, or when you are spending time on talking business model instead of doing business, that's another investment as well. And you really need to manage. You really need to manage how much time you can spend on not doing the business itself, but to preparing for the business or making the basis or baseline of the company and of the business, because that's a very important task. Sometimes a week passes by and then we realize, oh yeah, we really need it. We plan to speak with some of our salesperson to explain him something so he will be more efficient, but we didn't have time because we dealt with other things and other issues. But if we've done that investment on Monday, it would be like 20 minutes. Then maybe he would generate more value than that 20 minutes would cost. So managing this and balancing this, it's a quite hard topic. In the beginning, we spent a lot of time having interviews, being in the television and those kind of things. And we already spoke about the dream and about the aims, but we didn't have the first customer. We didn't have the product ready. We tried to fake it at that time, and we told everyone that yes, we are faking it, and we spent so much time doing this. If we spend much more time on getting the first customer or pilot partner, then we would have more projects now, more revenues now. That would be different. So we've done a wrong investment at first, but still you need to consider the risks and those kind of things. So it's a quite complex kind of thing. But I think it's good to see everything as an investment, because at the end you are investing something, your time, your money, energy. That's not infinite.
Absolutely, and I really love the point, and I think that having the concept of the chef helps us to understand that kind of investment that you are talking about. So we need to be in execution, but we also need to plan execution. So we can't be in the kitchen 100% of our time if not, the business will not grow. So we need to be able to think how we will attract people to the restaurant, and what kind of menu will we offer, and how it will be known in the city, by what kind of food. So we need to discuss our positioning, our products, our ingredients, how do we make it profitable as well, and there is a lot of tasks and job to be done as an architect and as engineering of the business, not only as someone who is executing or being the chef in the business, right? So Zoltán, it was really a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for making the time.
Thank you very much. I hope it was a good investment.
I'm sure it was, and our community is super happy to have you. I hope you enjoyed it so much as I have enjoyed it today, and we keep bringing you the best of the best to help you scale your business from 1 million to 1 trillion in this special edition of Breakthrough Engineering with IMI Hydraulic Engineering. See you soon and keep scaling.